Hey guys, welcome. So, since this is the end of the year 2025, and like I try to do this at the end of every year, so just a video in which I would like to reflect on the year, on the last year, on this year, as we say goodbye to this year. And of course, before we begin, as I always keep saying, it's nothing dramatic or special. The earth just completed another revolution around the sun. It's we who chose to make all this stuff like Christmas, New Year, and whatever. But at the same time, it's important to reflect on what we are doing and what we are not doing in our lives at regular intervals. And since I do this at the end of every year, so now is the time if we are to respect that periodicity in a way. Anyway, so first of all, one comment, and by the way, this video is not about one specific topic. So yeah, I'll just be reflecting on the year, and as I reflect, maybe I'll be reminded of this or that, and so on, and I'll be uh, sharing my views on those topics. Of course, the ones which are relevant in general, not just for me, because this is YouTube. So will try to keep the topics, discuss only those things which are relevant for you. But at the same time, since I don't have a script, I might just yap a bit. I'm sorry. So first of all, I recently released one video in which I argued about hard work versus smart work. And I got a lot of comments, not only in YouTube, but also like personally, some of my friends who watched the video. And so it's kind of, I realized that I might have given the wrong, I might have given the wrong impression, but I still stand by my views. But maybe some of you misinterpreted what I was saying due to my fault, due to my, let's say, lousy choice of wording. Well, see, first of all, it's not about being a machine. I kept saying in that video that you should always be the machine and not try to be the magician. So what I meant by that is not literally be a machine and just follow instructions and do whatever people tell you to and just keep your eyes shut and just follow instructions. Don't think for yourselves. No, I understand the term machine gives that vibe. So it's my poor choice of words. That's on me. But at the same time, that's not what I meant. What I meant was that you cannot really do what people call smart work if you don't have experience. And for experience, you need to work hard for a sufficiently long period of time. Let me give you a simple example. Okay, so a lot of people might think this way, that this is very difficult, I will never be able to do that, and that kind of attitude. So that's just an excuse, and I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker here, of course. I am the one who claimed a few videos back, I remember, so you don't need to remind me, I do remember that dreams are just a way, let's say, and not only a biological or evolutionary machinery, but partly that's what I believe. So dreams are a way to force us to keep living this meaningless life. Dreams are not really, they mean something special or anything. Dreams are not really, most dreams are not do not really come true in real life, but we keep dreaming because we need something to look forward to in this meaningless life. So life is our quest to find meaning in an inherently meaningless world. And so we have to find meaning, or if there is no meaning, we have to create meaning. That means we have to dream. I totally understand. But at the same time, when it comes to the question of hard work versus smart work, for instance, I have a lot of people tell me that writing a book is not a easy. It's not easy. You need a lot of talent. You have written a book when you were only 15 years old or 16 years old, when you were in high school. That's like you have a lot of talent in physics. That is wrong. I don't have a talent in physics. I was able to write the book because of hard work, because of patience, not because of talent. And why I say this? Well, all of us have ideas. There are millions of students who study physics, and let's say most of them are good students. Most of them have talent more than me, or at least as much as I have. Of course, we cannot define or quantitatively measure talent in a universal standardized manner, but yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. So all of us have ideas, all of us have this inner voice, all of us have talent, all of us, when we study physics or any subject, we form our own questions, we form a new perspective of it. In 90% of the cases, that is actually original enough to be published as a book. But what other people don't have is the time, and not even time, is the patience and the urge to work hard, because a book will not write itself. That is changing. I mean, nowadays with AI and all, if you just feed your ideas to, let's say, some large language model, it can generate a lot of tech. I don't even maybe books, and the situation, I don't know, after 1 or 2 years we can probably have that. There are pros and cons. I don't want to discuss that here in this video. But the truth is, I was able to publish the book because I was able to sacrifice my sleep and stuff for 1.5 years. Every night I used to go to bed at 3 a.m. in the morning, or 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning, something like that, and I used to survive on. This was very unhealthy habit, but I used to survive on ice creams. I mean, I was, even I am a big fan of ice creams, so I used to, like, the refrigerator of my home, it was always stacked with ice creams. And every night, because I was not a good, I mean, I couldn't cook my own meals, and in the night, so I have dinner at, let's say, 10 p.m. and I'm up to 3 a.m. typing my book. So of course I get hungry before I go to sleep, so I just took and have a chocolate ice cream, maybe something, and anyway. So and it never really felt like hard work or struggle, because I enjoyed the process. Of course, I mean, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't have done it, because it was not a compulsion, or like my teachers or my school, nobody forced me, nobody asked me that you have to write a book. No, people didn't even know that I was actually working on a book, except my parents. They came to know only after I published it. So that's the thing. This is a very good example that illustrates that it's hard work that makes a difference, not talent, not even smart work. Smart work is a very confusing terminology to me personally, because I mean, what do you mean by smart work? You you can say that, I get the feeling what most people mean by smart work is actually experience, intuition. If you work hard and dedicatedly on something for a long time, you will develop the experience and the intuition to, you will automatically develop that intuition, that inner voice that will tell you for future similar kinds of works that that is the right way, that way will save you time. So that's smart work. But it's not hard work versus smart work, it's hard work that creates smart work. You see what I mean? If you don't, initially, if you don't get messy, if you don't get your hands dirty, if you don't commit mistakes, if you don't work hard, then you will never become smart in reality. So that's the first point I wanted to clarify. The second point, this is just like some a general video as the year ends, as I said already in the beginning. Well, in the end of 2024, I mean, I remember today is 24th of December. So on this date, 1 year ago, I was in Pokhara, Nepal. I went there on a solo trip to see the country. It's a beautiful place, Pokhara, and also to meet my friend Gerard. He's in fact, the that was actually a very transformative experience for me in 2024 December, because first of all, it was my first solo trip, and that too in a different country. I understand India and Nepal, it's not very far or something, but at the same time, I mean, you need a passport, so it's technically it's a foreign travel. And before that, I had never traveled anywhere alone, like anywhere beyond my town, like anywhere this far alone. And that was my first solo trip, and my parents encouraged me, because they were like, you are planning to study, like go pursue your masters in physics abroad, so you have to get used to traveling alone and doing things alone, so this will be kind of like a small warm-up exercise. And it was good, because the kind of connections I made, kind of people I met there, and it's a different culture, and mostly Pokhara is a very like tourist spot, and I visited in this Christmas New Year time, so it was very festive as well. It was very good actually. But I made a video as well, about my 2024 reflections, just what I'm doing now for 2025. And there I claimed something which I remember. I mean, I was watching the video before I started recording. I was watching the video just so that I can. So there I claimed that in 2024 I explored myself a lot. And one important realization that I had back in 2024, I mean in the year 2024, is that prevention is not always better than cure. Sometimes you should intentionally allow yourself to be broken. Sometimes you should, break down, feel the extreme low and like build yourself up from there, because that is how you build resilience, that is how you build strength. You know how we build immunity, we inject a weak version of the antibody as a vaccine. So that's the whole point of vaccination. If it's only about prevention, no, I will not have the disease, I will somehow prevent it, I will wear a mask, I will be extremely cautious. Well, that might sound like a good approach, but in reality you cannot really prevent, at least in real life, you cannot really prevent hardships, you cannot really prevent downs, you cannot really prevent, let's say, bad incidents. So if you're not ready to cope with it, you're finished. But and to be ready to cope with it, you have to, initially let yourself be broken. You have to initially intentionally welcome those incidents in your life, and that's what I did in 2024. In 2024, I was kind of like, I traveled from this extreme of the emotional spectrum to this extreme of the emotional spectrum. Very happy. I mean, I felt very happy in 2024. For instance, in 2024, I was in my second year of my bachelor's of my undergraduate studies in physics, and I was accepted to the summer research fellowship offered by the Indian Academy of Sciences, and it's a pretty prestigious fellowship. So because the previous year when I was in my first year, I couldn't secure an internship or a research internship or a fellowship, and I was feeling very demotivated. Also because I failed in my mathematics exam in my first year of bachelor's. I had to retake the exam basically. So all in all, I was very demotivated because in my class 11 and 12, that's in India, class 11 and 12. By that I mean the high school, the last 2 years of my high school before I started my undergraduate studies. So during that time I wrote this book, and I was like so interested in physics, and people were like, no, you will do good in physics, and maybe that created a slight bias in my head. So when I went to college and I failed in mathematics, I was not able to secure an internship, I started questioning everything. That is, can I actually cope with physics? Is physics really my thing? And that was very dark, like those were very dark days. That's what I'm saying. Then in 2024, my course started improving, and I was accepted in this fellowship. I worked on a pretty advanced mathematical physics topic, theoretical physics topic, at one of India's best laboratories in physics, Physical Research Laboratory, Ahmedabad, PRL, and it was a funded fellowship as well. So it's a big thing, because you were in India, especially you're in second year of bachelor's, and getting a funded fellowship at that age is a prestigious thing actually. So that's when I started life started going uphill slightly, but at the same time I had to deal with a lot of personal issues which were like new to me, first time in 2024. Now I don't mean I don't really mean any kind of like relationships or romance or that kind of thing, but it was mostly about betrayal, friendship. I don't want to label it actually. I mean, you can call it friendship if you want, you can call it relationship if you want, I don't care. But yeah, I had to deal with that. And since it was now I realize that was so pointless, so stupid of me. But since it was my first time in 2024, maybe I got a bit carried away, and I let it break me down. But now in retrospect, I think it's good. It's like I said, it's not always true that prevention is better than cure. Sometimes you should catch the disease, just make sure you don't die, that's all. Just catch the disease and build your immunity. Just cure the disease, and that means you are already automatically you are prone to future such occurrences of the disease. So yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. And then in 2024, then after that I had an kind of, well, I won't put a level. It was somewhat like an identity crisis, but I am not here to gain sympathy or something, so I won't claim that, oh my god, I had an identity crisis, I had depression. I won't use any term or any labels. But yeah, in the middle, even after I came back to my home, to my state, after doing the internship, doing the fellowship, well, again I started feeling a bit, it was a very dark days, but at the same time my scores kept improving, so that was one good thing. And then I went to a trip with my parents. I released a lot of YouTube videos actually. Those of you who have followed, you know already. Nearby trip in forests and stuff in Duars. The place is called Duars in West Bengal. I don't know how many of you will have heard of it, especially the viewers from outside, because I mean recently I was checking my YouTube stats, and I don't know why, because I mean most of my viewers are, India is right now the second most popular country from which my viewers are, but most of my viewers are not from India, it's from a different country. So that's why I keep emphasizing, because yeah, of course, maybe I made a lot of friends here in France, and right now I'm in France, so of course it's kind of expected that the center of gravity of my viewers will shift away from India slightly, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so, and then after that in December, I went to Nepal on my own on this solo trip, and I met with my friend Gerard. He said it's kind of crazy because the way we met, he's actually an author, and he's very, like, he's not my age, of course. I actually released an interview, uploaded an interview with him on my YouTube channel. Some of you may already know. He's an old man. No offense, Gerard, if you're listening to the video. So, but that's the point. That's when I realized that the reason I bond with old people so well, even here, I bond with my professors better than people of my age. That's what I've noticed. And now I know the reason. Initially, it felt a bit like, why? I mean, I felt might feel a bit confusing. Why the hell? Because that's not what we expect. But now I know. I think now I know why. Because people of my age, at least the people that I have interacted with of my age, unfortunately, most of them gave me the impression that they always chase drama more than content, more than material. And it's always like, for instance, when it comes to science, they do science to show and not to know. See what I've done. See, I did that project. See, I did, and that's the kind of attitude I cannot tolerate. That is one category, and or there is also a different category who are there to, like, kind of backstab you or use you when they need you. So that's why I always say you should never be friends with someone who has with people who have different groups of friends for different needs. This was one of my biggest realizations in 2025. Actually, I mean, just a second. Yeah. I didn't. I didn't say this. Okay, so I didn't say this back in 2024 in that video because I didn't realize this. This was more of a 2025 realization of mine. Never trust people or never be friends with people who have different groups of friends to turn to. So I have, for instance, one of my past friends. Right now, I have, like, deleted that person from my life, which I do to a lot of people. And I don't care admitting this out in public because I don't need to hide this fact. I am confident that it's for my protecting my individuality, which I'll do at all cost. So this person, well, I won't reveal, of course, their identity, but yeah, especially if someone from my college back in India is watching the video, some of you are, I'm pretty sure, you will know who I'm talking about, and I don't give a damn about that. So these kind of people, they have different groups of friends. When they need someone to explain physics to them before the night before the exam, that's Arpan. Okay. When they need someone to, maybe, for instance, talk about some research project or maybe present a paper which not really paper, maybe just a review, not original research, but at the same time. So yeah, it's Arpan's idea, but maybe I can just see if I can, like, get my name involved in the presentation as well. So for that kind of needs, they have Arpan. Maybe when they have some different kind of needs, emotional needs or something else, or those needs, then Arpan is no longer serves the purpose because Arpan never tolerates drama. He is a very straightforward person. Then they have a different group of friends. I don't think I need to speak. I need to say anything more. But this was a very important realization because that's why I say never trust people who do this, like, who have different friends. No, it's not about having friends. Of course, it's not like if you're friends with me, you have to be friends with me. You cannot have different friends. No. But you cannot keep using me for that particular purpose, physics and that kind of stuff. So that's not friendship. That's you're just using me, and you never help me back. You never really, like, take my ideas seriously, and you never really. I mean, you're never really at my level. Your level of thought is never really at my level. You're a typical mediocre, let's say, person. And by mediocre, I mean by the level of their thoughts. That you can understand by speaking with them. By mediocre, I don't care which, let's say, how much they score. I mean, even they're mediocre. But anyway, how much they scored in exams, or which university they go towards, the rank of the university in the world. I don't care. I mean, I was accepted in a top 30 university. I didn't go there because I didn't like the program. I didn't like the support of the faculty, and it was a bit expensive. So that's why I chose Montpellier. Montpellier is not a very highly ranked university as overall, but the kind of support I'm getting here, the kind of opportunities, the opportunity to work in a CNRS lab, the supervisors and everything, and also the city as a whole, the climate, the weather, the scholarship and all. So I came here. because I'm here to learn. I'm not here to tell people that I study at a top 30 university in the world. That's the point. If you're wondering, it's University of Edinburgh, the one I got accepted at top 30. And also many other, actually I got accepted to 7 or 8 universities which were in the top 100, but I said no to all of them and I came to Montpellier. Anyway, so yeah, because I mean this masters which I'm doing, it's not an ordinary master, it's a very special program, and I it was too hard to resist. I mean, it was too good to resist this EDL graduate program, because it's like hands-on learning. You can work in a lab, you have 2 internships, like 2 paid and internships. You don't have to email professors for internships. I mean, it's you are shared a list of internships and you can choose from there. And the kind of support, and also this is a very structured and very specialized master. So like for instance, our masters is focused on biological physics, using statistical physics and the physics of complex systems to study living matter, living system, biological systems. So all our courses are kind of tailored to that, which is good in a way. Yes, maybe we are not doing quantum field theory, maybe we are not doing relativity and all the stuff, so maybe it's not a very broad course in that sense. But at the same time, if you want to do PhD in the physics of complex systems or biological matter, I mean, you don't really need all of that. So why the extra burden? Why should you take extra burden? So here you can focus on what you want to do. So for instance, we have courses on like stochastic processes, statistical physics, biological physics, hydrodynamics, stuff we actually need. And we actually, at least I am able to learn those topics in way more depth, because I don't have a lot of courses. So recently there was a stochastic process exam and I scored the highest actually. So that was a mathematics exam. It's more mathematics than physics. It's very simple. It was just Markov chains, by the way. It was stochastic process is a very broad term, and Markov chain is only a very simple idealistic example of stochastic process. So our course was mostly on Markov chains, but at the same time it was very good because we got to learn it the mathematics way, not just the physics way. Then just you write the master equation, you solve some stuff, and you see how the system behaves. That's important for us physicists, but at the same time it's also important to have a good understanding of the mathematical motivation, the theorems. When can we say that after a long time a Markov process will admit an invariant probability distribution, or sometimes it can have an invariant distribution, but will the actual probabilities of the system converge to that? What are the conditions for that? Like, and the mathematical way of defining all this, communicating classes, the theorems, I liked it actually. So, and of course the professor also, he was a very good teacher. I mean, it's very rare to see a mathematician teach this way, because he himself is a mathematician, but the way he taught us, it was a very well maintained balance between mathematics, abstract mathematics theorems and applications. So that's what kept it. It's not like just pure theorems and proofs and all. Then it would have been a bit more difficult. And he also developed the intuition the right way. I mean, that's how I feel, at least. And so yes, and you see these ideas. This is very fundamental, like the strong Markov property and the weak Markov property. It's a very subtle difference, and in many situations, physicists will not even care about this. Physicists don't even care about, I don't care, this is what I know and this is what I will apply in the system and it works. And at the same time, physicists are mostly, they're interested in CTM, continuous time Markov chains, CTMC. But what we did was discrete time Markov chains. Now, since physicists do not deal with the mathematics in very rigorous manner, that's why they can afford to move to CTMC. They can use CTMC, but the mathematics of CTMC is way more complicated. So even the mathematics of DTMC is not trivial. The discrete time Markov chains, that's what we did. The idea of when can we say, like between the strong Markov property and the weak Markov property. For that you need to know something which we call the stopping time. What is a stopping time? The most fundamental mathematical definition. Physicists mostly talk about first passage time, excursion time, hitting time, and that kind of thing. But those are very specialized, but in general, I mean, they're all kind of fall into the category of stopping time under appropriate conditions. Anyway, this video is not about Markov chains. So in 2024, I'm sorry, I keep diverged, like, speaking more than necessary and increasing the length of the video. I mean, let's stop. This is now is holidays and it's the end of the year, so I don't care if, I mean, maybe most of you don't have the patience to listen to the video till the very end, but here we go. I just feel like talking sometimes on my own. You don't have to worry about putting a filter in your mouth when you talk on my own, because I know that you guys can listen to my video. Since I'm uploading this to YouTube, it's not really staying between me and me, of course. But at the same time, that it's a different situation when you're uploading it to YouTube. But right now I'm recording in my room alone. It's not like I'm speaking with a person in real time, in face to face, one on one, or whatever. So that's the point. Now, so in 2024, that was one of my most important realizations, that prevention is not better than cure. And it was a very eventful year for me. And I was also dealing with this kind of worry, let's say anxiety, because I felt very homesick when I went to Ahmedabad for my research fellowship, just for 1 month. Even then, 1.5 months, I think. Even then, I felt very homesick, and I was like, if I can't, if I feel, if I get depressed and anxious, just staying away from my parents just for 1.5 months in a different state in the same country, how am I going to go to a different country and study? And that was a very, like, I worried, I basically I was overthinking. That brings me to my second realization, which is that sometimes the solution is to stop thinking and just wait. If you keep thinking that, back then you will not be able to come up with a solution. I mean, on the contrary, things might turn worse. You might take a decision, no, I don't want to go abroad and study. That's, nobody cares when you're sabotaging your own future. Because right now the program I'm enrolled in, I mean my parents no longer need to support me financially. I'm a master student. This would not have been the case if I was studying in India. Even if I for a moment ignored the fact that here the faculty, the quality of teaching, the opportunity and everything is much better. Even if I ignored the fact for that moment, even financially it's better here. Of course, it's a bit, I mean financially it's definitely better, but at the same time it's a bit trade-off with your mental health, especially for the initial few days, because, well, staying away from your parents is not fun, especially during the time of festivals. I mean, Indian festivals, during the time of Indian festivals. And people will say that you're in Europe, so you can enjoy Christmas. Well, not really. I mean, tomorrow's Christmas, and I'm just in my room writing, running Monte Carlo simulations and writing project reports all day long. Yeah, you can go out, and it feels good. I mean, it feels good when you see it in someone's pictures or statuses. But once you're here in reality, well, the only thing I love about this place is the research environment and the thing. But Christmas and stuff, well, you don't really, I mean, at least I don't really fit in the crowd. It's not okay. It's a good place. It's the AQI is very good. That's a very good plus point. The AQI here is always below, let's say, below 60, most of the time below 50 even. Like, it's very, I mean, compared to India, the pollution is very good, so it's good for my health. Other than that, well, just, I mean, it's not Wonderland in Christmas here. That's not what I get. And on top of that, it's raining a lot for the last few days. Not now. Today is a bit sunny, thankfully, but it was raining a lot in the last few days, and that's why, I mean, it was even worse for me, because I couldn't go out. So yeah, and now let's come, finally let's come to the present. Not the present, I mean the 2025. Well, I have already discussed some points about 2025, but and also that important realization: never trust people who have different groups of friends to turn to. Just to clarify once again, I don't mean to say that you're not allowed to have other friends if you're friends with me. I mean to say that if you're a genuine person, you should treat all your friends equally. You should not segregate among your friends. Now, that he is the person I will go to when I need help with physics. He's the person I'll go to when I need help with my let's say my bullshit emotional drama. She is the person I will go to when I need help with this. Not that. If you really think all of them are your friends, if you really treat them to be true friends, you don't, like, weigh down one with one. I mean, what I mean to say is that you behave normally, and you treat them on the same footing. You behave equally with them. And if you're wrong on something, and if your friend points it out, learn to accept it, or at least think about it. Because, see, nobody cares about your ego. The world doesn't care about your ego. I mean, and these people, I mean, this particular person, I shouldn't normalize. I mean, I shouldn't generalize, because I have not met second. I mean, I've not met anyone else other than this person who is exactly like this. But similar traits, I have seen similar traits in different people, actually, in many people, more than one people, many people actually. And their excuse is that it's self-respect. What their ego, their unjustified ego, their oversized ego, well, that's self-respect. Because once people, I used to think that they have been brainwashed, but it's not brainwashed actually. It's their ability to think is very painfully limited, and once that happens, once you lose your ability to think, or you lose the urge to think, It's both urge and ability. It's both your intention and your capacities. It's not only your capacity and not only your intention. It's both plays a role. Then you will always try to find excuses to stay, to remain who you are. You will not want to change. And their excuse is, no, I am like this. It's my self-respect. I will not listen to you. That's the thing. They never change. Yeah, I try to change. I'm not saying I am a perfect person. I have many faults. A few days back, I posted a WhatsApp status in which I asked my contacts to, I meant to say, like, since this is the end of the year, I did this in back in 2024 also, if I remember correctly. I asked them to tell me one good thing about me and one bad thing about me in the past year, or even in general. And I actually try to learn from the bad things. If you're one of my contacts who actually responded, I got quite a few replies actually. And you see how I and then I did the same for you. I mean, those who replied, I also gave them, in my view, one bad thing and one good thing about them. And we had a kind of constructive discussion in which both of us learned from each other. I didn't shut down their bad thing about me. I didn't say that no, I have self-respect. On the contrary, I invited. I even explicitly mentioned in the status that if you choose to reply, you have to tell me both the good and the bad, because praise without feedback is useless to me. I don't need to hear praise. I need to hear your feedback where I'm wrong. Yeah, at the same time, I do need some encouragement, but both are important simultaneously. That's the thing. So I'm not saying I'm perfect, but at least I'm ready to change. If you can logically prove that no, what I was doing, this view of me, that philosophy of mine of, or that action of mine was not totally right, I'm ready to change. I'm even ready to publicly acknowledge that, for that matter. So yeah, now let's come to 2025. So in 2025, well, things started off good, and yeah, it was a good experience. I got to mentor a student in my college back in India. So that was my first time really I mean, I have mentored students unofficially, virtually, but it was first in person meant. Nothing serious, just a reading project of the Zaverian Astronomical Society, a society back in my college. Then then I was like, okay, I was also working on path integrals. That was my undergraduate dissertation. I mean, I don't want to mention what I did, like all those list of stuff I did in 2025, but that time was important to me because during that time I was slowly starting to realize that I don't have much time left in India. I mean, I have to prepare to move to a different country, and that mental preparation was, I mean, once I'm here, it's things are very easy. But before I came here, the kind of thoughts I had, I was like, oh my god, will I be able to survive and all that. So that was important. And then after that, yeah, then we graduated. That was very happy. Yeah, that was a good moment actually. So when I got my my undergraduate degree in physics, and I was among the few students, I think 4 or 5 students in my class managed to score over 80%, and I was one of them. I just crossed the 80% mark. I got 80.2% actually. So just, but at the same time, I still crossed 80%, which is, I mean, which is difficult in our college, because St. Xavier's College, Kolkata is not physics honors. Its course is not so easy back there. We don't have a reputation of being an easy course, and it was good for it. It was especially like, let's say, it built my confidence, because I started off the course by failing in mathematics and even scoring poor marks in physics in my first year. And so the last few semesters I worked hard. And yeah, there was also another personal reason there, which, I mean, this kind of takes us back to 2024, but I'll still briefly mention it. I never cared, I never thought that, even now I don't really judge people by their marks in exams, of course. I don't think that you can judge a person's intellectual abilities or whatever just by looking at what the score, what they managed to write within 3 hours, a particular set of questions. That's not a right way to. But at the same time, there are some people who claim that, like some people who score very poorly, maybe let's say 50% or 60% or just above 60%, and they're like, I don't like exams. I'm not the exam kind of guy. I am the research type of students, and that kind of I get very angry when I hear that. Well, of course, to them, being research kind of student means maybe they have done 1 or 2 internships, and they have secured the internships by cold emailing professors. Also in India, there is, I mean, not in general, but there is this thing that when I was in my first year, 2 students from me and another student. This is the same person, by the way, I was talking about. Don't trust people who have different groups of friends. We cold emailed the one professor from an institute, and Indian Institute of Technology Indore, actually IIT Indore. I don't care about I won't mention the name, of course, but I don't care about sharing this. And the professor initially like said yes to both of us. Yes, you can come and work with me in the summer if you like. I accept you in the internship. But then he kind of didn't reply back to my emails, but he accepted that student. And it was a girl, so I don't know if this was kind of like a gender bias or something, because it was a she. The other student was a female, and I was. But I won't make. I don't know if that was the only reason, but or it was something else. So yeah, that was a, like I said, I scored very poorly in mathematics, and I failed to secure an internship in my first year. So this was the one I was talking about, and it was not really my fault because he initially said yes. If he said no initially, then I would have like, okay, maybe I'm not really competent enough to work in his group. But that was not the thing. It's good. I mean, I don't care actually, because that was not a paid internship, and in my second year I got a funded fellowship from Indian Academy of Sciences in a much better institute and in a much better, under a much better supervisor. So yeah. And then in the after graduating from my bachelor's in 2025, I did a second internship at an even better institute under and it was an even more interesting project under in the Institute of Mathematical Sciences, Chennai. It's a very good premier research institute in these topics in India. So yeah, I don't care. It was tough initially, but I replied back. I mean, I didn't like shut myself up in a room and cry. But that was not fair. Even today, it's not. I'm not saying that I didn't get that internship, so it finished my career. No, I'm doing much better than them actually. But this is not fair, because this thing happens to a lot of students in India, not just me. And that's what I'm saying. This is not fair. This practice is not fair. If you are such a busy person that you cannot reply to emails, don't accept students in your internship. I don't care how many citations you have. I don't care which institute you work at. I don't care whether you are a assistant professor or a associate professor or a researcher. I don't give a shit about that. My supervisor here is a senior CNRS researcher, and he replies to me on WhatsApp like if I text him now, I'm pretty sure he will reply in a few hours. And look at his profile. So don't give this kind of excuses. If you really want to do science, if you really want to teach, if you really want to train future scientists, students, like first thing is you should delete your ego, which most Indian professors in my experience find it very difficult to. And that's why you can see the state of research in the country. Quantity over quality. Thousands of papers and all that stuff. Real input is a big zero in most cases. In most cases, of course, there are good researchers in India as well. So this is a message. If anyone is watching the video, I mean, even if you are a professor, maybe my tone is a bit because I have no right to advise you or anything. But please, it's a request. Don't be like that person. Don't do that with anyone. It's not about me. With anyone. Right now science needs more and more future aspiring researchers. And I'm not a policymaker. I don't want to say anything because I don't have anything significant to say about the funding. Of course, funding in research needs to be increased, but how to do it? Why is it not? I mean, I understand it's a problem. It's a vicious cycle. It's a problem. The government has also got a point. When there are people who cannot feed themselves, when the country is going to war, you cannot really fund research in fundamental physics. But at the same time, I mean, this is a very, very important question. But at the same time, I don't have a lot of inputs to give right now. That's why I'm not spending much time on it. But since I said so much about the student's perspective, and since I am a student myself, it's very important. The least you can do is encourage future researchers. That's the least you can do. At least encourage them. Don't shut them off. I know you can do that. You have an institutional affiliation. You are a professor. You have your job. You have your ego and all that. I know you can do that. I know you can ruin the future of students. I know, and many we hear many incidents in India, for instance. I don't want to mention names or any, but I mean, if you're from India, you know, many students are forced to commit suicide because of this hostile environment in their academic. For instance, in PhD students, the supervisors not at all supportive. Stop treating students, especially researchers, in this way. PhD is technically a researcher. It's a paid position. It's almost like a job. It is treated as a job in Europe here, for instance. PhD students are not your servants that they will work for you. They will make your course notes. They will make slides for you for your lectures, and they will be forced to work on their own research in the night. And then you will criticize them for not being able to do good enough. This is not the thing it should be. And at the same, and on top of that, the situation in India is even worse because the stipend the PhD students get, the money the PhD students get, is in many cases not enough to bear their daily expenses. Anyway, I should stop speaking about this and come back to the point of the video. That's my 2025. But that was an important point, and I got a bit. But whatever I said was fully justified, I believe. I'm ready to argue with you if you want in the comments maybe, or whatever. But yeah. So yeah, what I was saying, that these group of students, they are like, I am the research breed, so I don't care about CGPAs, I don't care how much I scored in the exam, I don't care about exams. So their excuse for scoring a 50% or 60% is that they don't care about exams and they're the research breed. And to them, research breed means they have done 1 or 2 internships by cold emailing professors. Beautiful. And I am someone who has done, let's say, 2 funded internships where I actually applied officially, not by cold emailing professor. I am someone who has a ResearchGate profile with 11 items listed. I am someone who has worked on at least 3 independent projects apart from my internships, and like which are like serious. I mean, they have been kind of endorsed by real researchers, and I'm still working on it even here in a CNRS lab. And and at the same time, even after all of this, I never claimed that I'm the research breed. What do you mean research breed? So if you are good at research from a young age, does it mean that you are entitled to score less and be justified about it? Justify that? Because while I said that you cannot judge a student's intellectual capabilities just by looking at the score, that's true to some extent. But at the same time, if you are a physics undergraduate student and you want to be a physics researcher in the future, whatever in whatever field of physics, and you're scoring a 50% or a 60%, that's not justified. I mean, that's not justified in the sense, if someone scores 80% and someone scores 70%, you cannot really say that the guy who scored 80% is definitely a better understands physics better. But at the same time, if someone scores 80 and someone scores 60%, there is clearly a difference. Because in exams, well, you have to think, you have to learn, and learning is, it's not about whether you will be using that particular knowledge in your research. Of course not. The stuff I learned in bachelor's in my undergraduate, only 20 or 30% of that maybe is directly I'm using right now in my research, but the other 70% are not important. But I think that's not the only point of exams. Especially when you're an undergraduate student, you are like, it's a general, you have a lot of diversity in the class, so not all of them will pursue. Right now I'm in a specialized master's program, but where the undergraduate class, we have many different people in the class. Some of them want to go do astrophysics, some of them want to do quantum physics, some of them want to do statistical physics. So and that's a very foundational year, so all of us should be trained in everything, because undergraduate is like the basic, you are not yet specialized. So even if you won't use that knowledge in your research, I think it's always there is no harm in learning those topics, even if just for the exam, because that lets your brain get habituated with stress. Exam stress is the most difficult kind of stress in my experience. But if you are for instance, in my case, if you're ready to go to sleep at 5 a.m. the day before the exam, and then wake up at 7 a.m. and take the bus to the college and give an exam at 8 a.m. and score the highest in the class, if you have been through that phase, no, you are good for life, essentially. Well, in Europe, for instance, the stress the PhD students face, I can definitely say it's much less than that kind of stress. Even exam stress, it's much less than that kind of stress. So that was a training that trained my mind, that gave me confidence to deal with the stress. That is the importance of exam. It's not about whether I am using that knowledge in my research right now, and maybe I'm not using it, but so what? I mean, I worked hard because I was trying to prove to my own brain that yes, Arpan, you are good at research and writing books and stuff, but if you want, you are also good at exams. So you are good at whatever you want. That was kind of like a rewiring of my brain. That is how I see exams. Not because I can brag to people that I scored 80%, I got a first class and all that. That is not the reason. Yeah, of course, that matters a little bit in your interviews and stuff, when you're applying to big places. Of course, if they see 80% and 60%, that there is a slight difference, but at the same time, yeah, that's not the only thing. And like I said, there was this personal like challenge as well, because initially for the first year, in the first year I scored very poorly in my exam, even failed in mathematics. And some students, they consistently scored very high in exams, like they were the, let's say, the toppers. And people were like, formed their impression. I even heard this actually from some that Arpan is, he doesn't really understand physics. I don't know how he wrote the book or something, but he, look at him, he fails in mathematics. He's look at his scores, it's so poor. He's not really, he's like, I was insulted basically. And that's when it was like personal challenge. Okay, so I'll show that even I can be good in exams if I want to. And I never wanted to in the first place, but okay, if you force me to, I'm ready to fight the battle. So yeah, I scored the one of the, like, among the highest in my last 3 semesters. I think among the top 3 or top 4, I think. And overall I managed to score 80%. I managed to bring my total to above 80%, which was difficult because in my second year I scored like 50%. In my first year I failed in math, so it was very difficult to make up. I was not consistent. It was like this, I mean, an upward curve. But anyway, that brings me to another of my realizations or lessons in 2025. Then I realized, okay, it's good. At the same time, maybe not every battle is worth fighting, even if you end up winning. Because, okay, what I did about the exam part, maybe that was justified battle for myself, not to show them, not only to show them, but also to myself, just to build my confidence. But at the same time, in life, you will meet many people, many different types of people. People will challenge you. People will, you know what I mean. But you don't need to answer to all of them. You don't need to justify each and everything you do, because maybe there are people who don't even care, who don't even have the ability to think at your level. So you'll be wasting your time and energy and mental peace if you keep justifying or if you keep fighting battles with them. Sometimes it's important to just step back. And like I always say, you should also learn to be the referee at times. If you're a player, you're just following rules and playing the game. Maybe you win the game, okay, but you are following the rules. You are not writing or rewriting the rules. You are following the rules. You are just a mindless player. And if you are a player of the game, you miss the patterns of the game. In a football match, one individual player doesn't have a bird's eye view of the football pitch. They don't understand what's happening in the game as a whole, the patterns of the game. The guys who are analyzing it, or the referee or someone who is watching the game from above, they have. But they are not players themselves. That's the point. If you really want to get a bird's eye view, if you really want to understand the big picture, you need to stop playing the game at times. You need to stop becoming a player. You need to always stop thinking about in terms of winning and losing. Sometimes step back. Hey, I don't want to play this game. I have transcended your level. I don't care about winning or losing. I'm just observing you play and I'm just trying to figure out the rules of the game, because I'm the one who's going to rewrite the rules in the future. That is the attitude. Maybe it sounds a bit more dramatic, but yeah, in a sense, I think you get what I'm trying to say. So yeah, now finally, that was really important. And then I came to France. Yeah, that from September I started my master's here. So this is still an ongoing project, ongoing story, not project. Yeah, I also need to stop thinking about everything in life as a project. Yeah, even I even think about humans as project. This might sound a bit like dark. Maybe it is a bit dark, but once I meet a new friend, for instance, friend or whatever, like here, initially I treat them to be projects. Okay, so this is a new project. Let me analyze this project, whether this is someone I can be a little more open with, or someone I should, like, just interact with on, like, superficially. And that okay, anyway, so that brings me to the last 2 points I want to cover before I finish, like, end this video. Number one, emotional my work on emotional dynamics, and number two, anti-simulation. What's anti-simulation? You'll understand when I go there. That will be the last point I discuss. So yeah, in 2024 5, something good also another good thing also happened to me. Well, yeah, compared to 2024, I think my 2025 was more balanced. By that I mean that in 2024, like I already said in the beginning, in 2024 I explored the entire emotional spectrum. Like, there are times I felt very high, there are times I felt very low. So it was like, it was good. Like, I felt alive. If you are oscillating, you feel alive, but at the same time you also feel a very, yeah, I mean, it's like highs and lows, extreme highs and lows, in fact. So in 2024 I felt more alive. I explored myself, both my good and my bad. That was good in one way. In 2025 it was more like a damped oscillation. Like, It was more like I was playing a strategic game, because 2020, this is what I was saying, 2024 has taught me the lessons I needed to actually play this game the right way, and I implemented them in 2025. And well, it worked out well, but at the same time, 2025, my 2025 felt less alive to me. It feels like I grew up like 10 years in 1 year, if I put it that way. Because the entire 2025, I didn't allow myself to feel very high or very low, even though there were incidents which could have, pushed me to either direction, but I didn't allow that. And I was always playing a strategic game in every direction of life, every aspect of life, like be it with a human, with a relationship, or be it with physics, be it with research, be it with whatever, everything. I'm sorry, if you will excuse me. Yeah. I just need to just give me a second. This is I'll just pause the video for a second. I'm sorry, guys. That was an important like email I couldn't ignore. I just had to write a quick reply, so I'm sorry. Yeah. So like I was saying, just two more points I would discuss before I finish this video. One is this thing. So yeah, this was also an important, a good thing that happened to me. So I was so I became such. I started treating everything as a project, as a strategy, as an equation, basically. Then I got this idea, because it was like it started in a very fun way, actually. It was like I was having an argument with one of my quote unquote friends, deleted now, the same one, actually. And well, how do I say it? It was like an argument, usual pointless arguments, and because I was still learning the fact that you should sometimes stop arguing with people who will never understand, and stop wasting your time on such worthless conversations. But at the same time, this was actually a boon in disguise for me. Then I was like, during the argument, since I told you, like I started treating everything like from this strategic lens in 2025. I was just analyzing the WhatsApp chat, the conversation, and I was like, okay, so usually when two people interact, I mean, two people of my age, this are in this setting. I'm not, or even in generally, actually, when two people interact, usually these are the patterns that I was seeing, and that was like not just from that conversation. In general, from my other interactions as well. And then I got a certain idea. What if I could like mathematically model everything that can happen between two people? That was the initial idea. And well, so far in my undergraduate, I was I mean, till the very end of my undergraduate, actually, I was focused on pursuing theoretical physics, quantum mechanics, and all that stuff. And even my undergraduate dissertation was on path integral formulation of quantum mechanics. So biological physics came over me all of a sudden just a few months back. I mean, I was never really initially into biological physics, the physics of complex systems. Well, yeah, nonlinear dynamics, chaos theory always interested me, but never more than quantum mechanics, actually. I never thought of, and this kind of stuff, modeling real world dynamics, complex dynamics by writing differential equations and performing simulations was very new to me. Even up to, let's say, even a few months back, before I came here, it was very new to me. But still, I decided to, okay, let's see what happens. And initially, like I was like very naive. Initially, it was very naive. I just started, pulled out a notebook and started writing what like the different things. Okay, maybe I can, in the equation there should be two parameters. One should control the emotion. If it's positive, the person is happy. If it's negative, the person is sad. One should control the relationship. If it's positive, the person feels good about the other person. I'm talking about 2% right now. And if it's negative, the person feels bad about the other person. And then, so okay, how will this evolve? And so I actually published an article and also presented a presentation on this. And even here I'm currently working with this, and right now a lot of serious researchers know about the idea, and we discuss and we collaborate together on this work. So right now it's like a serious project, but it started as a crazy fun idea. And if you see the published report, it looks very official, but to arrive at that insights that I should actually use a nonlinear differential equations, these terms, it was not easy, because initially if you look at my rough notes, it was like I didn't even have the insight of differential equations. Initially I was just trying to do it using a parameter, like just like let's say somewhat like a discrete difference equation kind of thing, like we do in logistic, just logistic equation maybe. And I don't know, it was actually very difficult because first of all it was very new to me, and second of all, my approach to research is a bit unconventional, because when people like, usually get a new idea, or if they work on an internship, this was not part of an internship by the way, this was my own idea, that's it. Usually they first of all go to the internet and search about existing works and do a literature bibliographic study, a literature study and stuff. I didn't do that because I was like, okay, I don't have so much time for this. This was just a fun idea. Let me see if it leads anywhere. Most probably it will not. So let me just play with the ideas on my own. It's not a serious internship or something. I don't have the time to do bibliographic study on if anyone has tried to model emotions using mathematical equations, using nonlinear differential equations. I didn't have the time. And it's good because sometimes if it's a very crazy or a very novel idea, sometimes it's good if you actually don't do a bibliographic study, because in that case bibliographic study will only bias your judgment. So it's better you follow your own head first, you follow your own reasoning first, and see where it takes you. And once you have at least something, then you can compare. And in this case, I later did some bibliographic study. They do not exist in my. I couldn't find any model which does exactly what I did. I mean, there are some models which try to, models in opinion dynamics, how collective opinion forms in society and that kind of thing, but pinpointing all the different scenarios that can happen in an asymmetric, like the most general possible two-person relationship using four equations, two for emotional dynamics, two for relationship dynamics, that's something I couldn't find anywhere in the internet. So my approach was unique, and it worked. I won't say it worked, maybe that would be a bit too strong, but you can, I'm actually planning to release a YouTube video very soon on this. I have made I've presented this actually, and I'll be using the same slides to make a YouTube video as well, record a YouTube video as well on my model. So if you're interested in the technical details, you can watch that video. Wait for it. I mean, it will drop in a few days. But the thing is that I also ran some simulations, very basic, using this is not Monte Carlo simulations. It's not the stuff I'm doing with polymers right now. These simulations are very basic, like using RK4 method, Runge-Kutta 4 method. It's the RK4 method. Basic numerical integration, the very simple type. But still, the results I got were very interesting and kind of suggestive. And well, I definitely think that this model I created just out of my head, it's nowhere near to perfect. No models are in that sense, but it was such a good learning experience for me in learning nonlinear dynamics, doing stability analysis, bifurcation analysis, and also I created something new, something original that real researchers are taking notice, that real researchers think are worth working on. Just because I had an argument with someone I don't like. That's how breakthroughs are made, at least in emotional dynamics. So yeah, and it's a good model because I was also able to define a global emotional alignment parameter. And this parameter is the good thing about it is that without going into technicalities, just by using this parameter, you can actually derive. It's like just like if you it's just like an, I won't say it's a control parameter, because of course this is not a model where we can do experiments. Maybe we can in the future we can see real world data from social dynamics or emotional dynamics. I don't know, but I'm not an expert on the social or psychological aspects. I'm just a mathematical modeler, poor mathematical modeler, that's all. But at the same time, this parameter, it gives you a number, a value between -1 and +1, and this tells you the level of alignment between the two individuals. So it's like, I mean, for instance, if both are sad, their emotions are negative, but then the parameter will still be positive because they're both aligned. This is about mutual alignment, not about happy or sad. This global alignment parameter, I call it the global alignment parameter in the paper. You can call it something else. Basically, it's EEG. That's the notation I used. So, and I was able to define it in such a way using the hyperbolic tangent function to saturate, and like for small perturbations, you have this huge, I should say, huge change in the parameter, but at the same time, it saturates for very high values. Like the graph of the plot of tan inverse hyperbolic tangent of x, tan hx is like this. So which is realistic, because emotions are not like, they don't grow indefinitely. If you feel very strong emotions, they are suppressed. We have biological mechanisms to suppress it. Our brain runs on finite energy, not infinite energy. And if you keep feeling sad or happy indefinitely, you will do something unrealistic, and that will not be a good thing. So our emotions are always regulated. In rare cases when they're not, I mean, the worst happens, maybe someone commits suicide, or even but those are like the anomalies. When someone is out of control, then they're not. My model is about healthy individuals, right? Of course, even then it's so complicated. So we have 144 different scenarios that can arise between only two individuals. And by different scenarios, I don't even change the parameter values. I only change the relative, let's say, positions of the variables with respect to one another. I just take a different combination of EI, EJ, RIJ, and RJI. So EI is, so there are two individuals, I and J. EI is I's emotional state, EJ is J's emotional state. RIJ is how I feels about J, RJI is how J feels about I. And it's a good thing because most of similar studies, slightly similar studies I found on the internet, papers, they usually assume that these feelings are mutual or like symmetric. So Rij is equal to Rji in those kind of models. So which is very unrealistic for real humans, of course. If I love you with some intensity and you, then the assumption is that you are also bound to love me with that same intensity. If I hate you with some intensity, you are also bound to hate me with that same intensity. Of course, you don't need to be a genius to figure out that that is not how humans operate. If that was so, there would be no argument, there would be no toxic relationships, there would be, I don't know, I don't know, anyway. So yeah, that's what I did. So this parameter was able to, for all the 144 different cases, this parameter was able to quantitatively, like give you a realistic answer that makes sense, an alignment that makes sense. And this parameter is also able to differentiate, it can give you a slightly positive or a slightly negative value even for the same situation, like the same case, same qualitative case, but the difference can still arise because it's these four variables are coupled via four nonlinear differential equations. It's a very rich dynamics. It's not a trivial model at all. It took me time to realize it. Initially, when I wrote the model, okay, we have four equations, I'll just do it somehow, and I go. But then I realized there's a lot hiding. I'm still working on the model. Something I built in under 10 days just from a crazy idea. Well, it still gives me heart attacks right now. That, oh, I didn't notice this. Oh my god, there is so much rich dynamical behavior hiding in these equations, and that's the beautiful thing about nonlinear dynamics actually. So yeah, that's one good thing that happened to me in 2025. And yeah, sometimes I feel like one of my friends here in France. So she was telling me, I was just showing her my we were discussing, and then she was a bit interested, and we discussed a bit about our model, my emotional model and emotional dynamics model. And yeah, even someone I'm collaborating with actually on this, we discuss a lot. Even she made this claim, and this other person, the second the friend I'm talking about, she also made I don't know why, if it's that obvious, but she was like, by reading your paper, it feels like you have been through a lot. And I'm like, what do you mean? Of course, initially I was a bit guarded. I'm like, what do you mean? And she was like, no, I get it. Of course, you given your background and your experience in research, and you come up with mathematical equations, do numerical simulations. This is very this is not surprising because you are a very good student, very good researcher. But the way you choose to define the terms in the equations, the way you choose that, okay, this is the emotional inertia term, because if I have a strong emotion, it decays very slowly, it doesn't decay very quickly. But if I have a weak emotion, it decays very quickly. At the same time, if I have a very strong emotion, it is suppressed by the natural biological mechanisms. Then in relationship term, there is a natural decaying term, like relationships will always decay with time unless they are reinforced. Then in the emotional equation, I defined the terms in such a way that how I think you feel about me affects my emotion more than how you actually feel about me. So all these were very small things, but of course she was right in a way, because this is I came up with this from lived experience. I built the equations and then I ran the simulations. But to build the equations, I had to ask myself, okay, what do I know about humans? What do I know about emotions? What do I know about relationships? What do I know about how humans usually behave? And okay, I don't know, maybe she's right, but she was like, you seem to have been through a lot, like you experienced a lot of positive and negative ups and downs in your emotions as well, to be able to have these insights, because you are able to turn this idea into a research project because of your physicist trait or physicist brain, let's say. But the initial idea of defining the equations this way, that would never have come if you not have actually lived through all of this. I was like, okay, after that we become closer. Now we are friends, but initially I was very cautious to admit And I was also a bit alarmed because I never thought that just by reading that paper, because that paper, if you can, if you, maybe I'll give the link in the description since I spoke so much about that in this video. If you look at the paper, it's very like written in a very formal tone. So it was surprising how someone by reading the paper can actually guess that I have been through a lot, or maybe it's she is farsighted. That could also be the case. I don't know, but yeah. So this was one good thing that happened to me in 2025 as well. It's an ongoing project, so it's kind of given me something to keep myself engaged, because well, physics has always kept me engaged, but sometimes it's very difficult to admit maybe, but okay, sometimes physics is also, I don't do physics just because I love it. Of course I love physics, but it's more like a coping mechanism at times. That's the way I feel. I'm not sure if this is true, but that's the way I feel sometimes about myself. Because internships are fine. Okay, you are doing internship, you are doing projects because you will get a certificate that will be an addition to your CV or your resume, and that will be useful for you in your future when you be applying for PhD positions, for instance. That is fine. You're working hard before your exam because you need good marks. That's fine. But even without any necessity, any internship or any exams or any whatever, you're just night after night, you're awake, working on a new model, or just writing a 60-page farewell letter to quantum mechanics just because it's the 100 years of quantum mechanics in 2025, and you are not doing a master's in quantum mechanics but in biological physics. It takes effort. Brings back to what we started with: hard work, not talent, hard work. It takes effort, not just effort. This must be a self motivation. You're working hard before exams. The motivation is not coming from within, the motivation is coming from the system. You have to pass the exam. If you get good marks, good for you. You are working hard on your internship project. The motivation is coming from your supervisor. If you don't do good, you will not do good in the internship. But this kind of thing, you just have an idea, and you are writing a 60-page report on that. You are publishing report after report, even beyond your official internship projects and your curriculum, your course, your assignments. That takes self motivation. You are doing it because you may think that because you love it, but I don't think that's a very realistic explanation, because those times I could have listened to music, I could have watched movies, I could have went out with my friends, or even alone in this beautiful city. Instead, I'm stuck in the room, and sometimes it feels very frustrating. Sometimes I just shut the laptop and just, I don't know, close my eyes, and like it feels like I feel like shouting. In fact, sometimes it's very frustrating at times. Still, I keep doing it. So I think the explanation is not that I just love doing it. The explanation is that I feel afraid living a normal life, like, because I feel afraid to connect to other people. I feel afraid to hang around with friends, and I feel afraid to watch movies, because movies might bring back some memories of mine which I don't want to. So physics, I kind of like try to bury myself in physics, in equations and stuff, because that's the only place I'm comfortable with. Physics can never lie to me, physics can never betray me, but I'm not really comfortable with humans. Most humans, I mean, of course I'm not talking about my parents and a few others, but most humans in general. So that is something I realized. I don't know if this is true, but yeah, in 2025 I also realized that the way I'm working and overworking and overstressing myself, even after all these compromises on my health, I fell sick very serious in the middle of 2025. I think the explanation is that no, it's not just because I love physics. It's because, well, physics is my safe hiding place or safe coping mechanism. And I don't feel ashamed of admitting this out loud. I know this is not a self-sustaining long-term solution, because I live in a society. I cannot keep hiding behind physics forever, and if I keep doing this, maybe I will suffer an early burnout or something, because right now I'm young, it's okay, but stressing too much also is not really good if you think about it. Maybe it feels good now, or at least it feels good when you complete writing the report and you look at, oh my god, I created something beautiful, but in general this is not a very healthy. I myself acknowledge that, and I will try to change, maybe, I don't know. The last thing I want to discuss is about anti-simulation. So apart from all this, editing articles or founding a physics journal, writing books, doing research and stuff. There is also another passion of mine which some of you should know, but I don't know if, but not maybe not all of you, because I don't talk a lot about this on this channel. But I have a second YouTube channel. You can find the link. Actually, you can find the link to that second channel. It's featured on my channel, on this channel homepage as well. You can just click this channel and go to the homepage, and you can see that Urban Amplified. So that's the channel in which I release my music. So yeah, I am interested in music, and I am not of course I'm not a professional, but I like to write songs and sometimes produce music. Although I think I am better at writing songs than producing music, because music production takes a lot of patience. There are some good pieces I have produced, but those were like, I'm never really happy with the first tune I come up with, and then cancel it all, and then it takes a lot of patience, even more than writing physics reports. I mean, it takes a lot of patience actually. And I collaborate with vocalists from different countries, like virtually mostly, on my songs, and this is even more difficult because initially what I tried to do was I made the instrumental track, I wrote the song, and I gave the timestamps. Okay, so you will sing the first line to the fourth line, the first verse basically, from this time to this time in the instrumental track, and that kind of thing. But that didn't end up well usually, because the vocalists are like, come on Arpan, it's not because the lyrics you have written, the phrases, the syllables, I mean the words you have chosen, the lyrics, for me to pronounce it in a proper musical way, it's the time you're giving for each line is not enough. Or maybe the music, you should decrease the BPM of the music or increase the BPM. And oh my god, more recently I have changed my strategy. I asked them to come up with a melody on their own, not the music, just the melody, and send me the raw vocals. I will add music on top of that, because since I'm doing it on top of that, I can edit the music to suit the vocals. But I understand it's more difficult to just edit the vocals to suit the music, so it's usually this way, it's better. But even then, it takes a lot of patience to create something which is worth listening, which is listenable. Yeah, I mean, if you're interested, you can check out my channel. I'm recently releasing a song, an album actually, my second album. So my first album, my debut album, was Unsettled Bliss. Unsettled Bliss was more like, it was from coming from a personal struggle with anxiety, depression, and all. The songs were mostly dark, about personal struggles, but also about hope. Like, not really hope, but about acceptance, about resilience. Even after all this, you have to keep moving in life. But at the same time, that was more. I mean, there are many such songs. I mean, the theme of the album was nothing very original, I feel, the Unsettled Bliss. And I released this album in 2021. This was my that was the year I started with music, and this was my first album. So it starts with a very short instrumental interlude, and then the first song in the album, Unsettled Bliss, is One More Chance. Uh, this was a collaboration with Julia Nem. She's a very talented singer. And One More Chance is a very soft, like just a piano melody. It's not like very sophisticated EDM music with drums and synthesizers, synth and bass and all that. It's a very simple melody. And that's the point, because the song is about, like regret and guilt after a war, basically. So I mean my personal motivation for the lyrics came from the World War II, the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, the nuclear bombings from after World War II, which ended World War II actually. So I mean, the lyric, if you look at the song of the lyrics, it's about that, like one more chance. After the war, the humans realize what they've done. They've destroyed everything, and then they have forgotten all the enmity, all the rivalry, and then they are hoping for one more chance to start it all. That's what the song is about. The second song in the Unsettled Bliss album is Greatness. Greatness is about, not fitting in the crowd, and like it's about the fact that if you are extraordinary, that comes at a price. Like, you're always singled out, you're always sorted out. So and so much, like, you suffer so much, then at times you think that whether being extraordinary is really worth it, or maybe it would have been better if I was just like just like them, ordinary. The third song is about physics. I mean, the song is called Physics. It's just a fun wordplay with physics, and like both the physics of the big, like cosmology, and the physics of the small, mainly quantum physics. And then the fourth song, I think, if I remember right, it was I think It Was Not Real. It was that is the title of the song. It Was Not Real. It's about basically long forgotten sweet memories of the past, basically. Of course, I'm just giving you a brief overview. If you want, you can interpret the song the way you like, and you can listen to the songs. It's not really something like objective. Then the next song was, I think, I Wasn't Myself. And I Wasn't Myself was a cool song actually. It was about battle, I should say, a dialogue between two voices, but both the voices belong to the same person, kind of. And it's like about playing the victim or accepting your fate and moving on. Sometimes we like to play victim. No, I couldn't do that because of that circumstance. But sometimes we should also learn to accept it. Okay, fine. It's on me, but I will try to rectify it. That kind of feeling. Then the next song was The World Versus Me. This was a very powerful, kind of rebellious song, basically. So as you can see from the title, The World Versus Me. So it's about, mainly, there are themes of corruption, injustice, and also rebelling against the system, against the authority. And that then the song, then there was the song called Unsettled Bliss. This is the song, the album is named after this song basically. So this is actually this, there's a story behind it very briefly. This started as a poem. I briefly I explored writing poems, poetry, before I moved on to songwriting, because well I feel music is a better way to connect to people. If you well, of course you can write poems, so you can write songs, you can write lyrics, but if you add music on top of that, and if you have someone with a very good vocal sing it, and then you create something which is like, you can always listen to. I listen to my own songs at times when I feel depressed, mostly Alan Walker songs when I feel depressed, but also sometimes my own songs, and it works. I mean, I don't feel like opening my laptop and reading the poems I wrote when I'm depressed, for instance. But I always feel like, okay, plugging my earbuds, or even turning on Alexa and listening to my own songs, listening to any song basically. So yeah, then so Unsettled Bliss is about, you know, feeling like I am feeling out of step with this world, but at the same time, and like it's about extreme depression. The lyrics, you can, if you look at the lyrics, because it actually makes sense in retrospect, because I wrote the lyrics when I was myself going through very dark times. My mother's health was very poor at that time, and I was like kind of having a very dark time back then, and you can see from the lyrics, it was very like my darkest lyrics till date, I think. Wish it I'll just maybe repeat the, just so that you get an idea, because it's a very short, that's the main part. Wish it was difficult to keep my eyes open. Oh, the overwhelming desire to fall asleep, to fall into a deep deep trance, and from life take a very long leave. So you see, it's not about dying, not explicitly about dying, but it's about a kind of, it's the person is too tired to keep living life, but at the same time there is some hope, because from life take a very long leave. So when you say I want to take a long leave, that means I will come, maybe after a long time, but I will come back, I want to come back. It's not like I quit. Then the second verse is, if I remember correctly, well, it was about, mhm. Then there was some some kind of bridge parts which I'm skipping, because the main lyrics is just three verses. It was a very short song actually. The second verse was wild thoughts chasing around my head, hairs turning white with time, a mind that is decaying with my body. I say so, yes, but I'm not fine. This is like typical, you can understand. The last paragraph is a bit subtle actually, so that's why I want to say this, like I want to speak this out. uh, Sorry, I'm just trying to remember. Okay, just a second. I'll just look it up real quick, because I don't want to waste your time. Yeah, a frown that remains as long as I'm awake, and I'm never able to describe that magical moment I just fall asleep and enter someone else's life. Notice the subtlety here. So I'm saying, whenever I'm awake, there is always a frown. So I'm never happy, I'm never at peace. That's why it's unsettled bliss. So I'm always unsettled when I'm awake. And when I feel asleep, when I fall asleep, that is the only time I feel at peace, I feel a bliss. But I'm saying that and enter someone else's life. So this person has been so so used to feeling sad and depressed and all that, even when for the few moments when he is not feeling sad, because he's asleep, it's not like he's feeling happy. Then he has formed a belief that even those moments are kind of like borrowed from someone else's life, because he has kind of inwardly started to believe that my life cannot contain any moment which is without pain or worry or anxiety or dark thoughts. So this was very deep. Anyway, after this, the next song in the album Unsettled Bliss is The Absolute Apocalypse. This is a song about, let's say, that we have done enough damage to the world, we cannot reverse it basically. So just, yeah, it's basically like a dark song, but it's about also about, it's not really a call for change, it's about pointing out to humans that what you have done to the world, and we are kind of hated for an apocalypse. That's not really literally true, maybe just a song, but yeah. mm, the next song is called Death, and as you can understand from the title, it's a very dark song. Again, it's the themes of the lyrics are a bit more sophisticated, but yeah, it's about like being stuck in a dark world with no escape, that kind of thing. And the last song of the album is called Escape, and Escape is again about the desire to escape from reality when life gets too hard, but at the same time you are forced to continue, you are forced to wrestle with these thoughts and push them to the back of the mind and keep living life, keep continuing. And that's where the album ends. Now the last thing I want to talk about in the video, as I told you, is Anti-Simulation. So Anti-Simulation is the name of my second album, which I'll be releasing this New Year's Eve on 31st December. It's few days. This album is it kind of let's say continues the same theme, but in a very it pushes it into much more stranger territory, and in a way more unique way. Like I told you, Answered Beast, the songs, the themes of the songs, at least you can find similar themes in many songs, but this one I think is much more unique in the sense that the entire theme of the album is that the world is a simulation, we're living in a simulation, and it encourages the listener, the one who's listening to the music, to break free of the simulation. I mean, by simulation I don't mean something that was shown in the movie The Matrix, like it's a literal simulation, we are actually living in a simulation, everything is like fake. Not that. Maybe the reality is real in the physical sense, but the stories we are told, for instance, by the media, by the news, the propaganda war, the control, the powerful people manipulating systems. So in a way, it's like it's the world is not fair, and in a way, it's a simulation. So by simulation, I refer to that, not literal simulation. And when I say break the simulation, I mean learn to think for yourself, because unfortunately it seems that the majority of the population, they've lost the ability as well as the urge to think for themselves, because this world, this system that we have created, it does not reward truth, it rewards convenience, it rewards power, it rewards, in fact it rewards lies. It never rewards truth. The truth is always harsh, and of course there is the human tendency to seek meaning over truth. And that's why the album starts with the first track of the album is not really a song, it's a very sad and also like in digital sounds with a glitch sounds, because I just wanted to I made it that way. Just 1 second. Yes, I'm sorry. So I made this, the first track is called Initializing Variables. So the entire album is like simulation coded, I mean that gives you that kind of vibes. So initializing variables, just like you have to initialize variable before you run a simulation on your computer. But right now we're talking about the entire reality. We're not talking about any Monte Carlo simulations of a complex system. We're talking about the entire reality itself. So initializing variable is not really a song. It's like just that kind of instrumental track, but with vocals. Now these vocals are not just AI generated vocals. It's just someone reading a script. It's not song. It's not melody. It's just a vocal, small parts. And it says that since I was working on this instrumental just yesterday night, so I remember actually the entire script, the entire lyrics. It starts with, this sets the stage for the rest of the album actually. It starts with, okay, I'm starting, quote. There was a time I thought I was just like everyone else. I used to believe in simple things, a simple life, a happy life. But the world was too cold to keep me warm. So I started playing with fire. So as you can see, this just sets the stage for the rest of the album, that the world was too cold to keep me warm means this is basically someone who still has not lost the ability to think for himself. Actually it was a female vocal, so let's say think for herself. But she's being wronged by the world, because the world is a simulation, because the world is being run by the whims of a few powerful and rich individuals. The world doesn't care about common people. That's the theme basically. So it's the like of the first track, and then it ends with these few. It says that again I'm quote unquote. It says that after all, what was there to be afraid of? You find meaning in things because that's what you seek. Seek meaning and you will find it. Seek truth and you'll realize there was never any meaning to begin with. And once you see that, well, something breaks. It's like zooming in on reality and forgetting how to zoom out again. Other people see beautiful pictures. I just see pixels. Random, precise, unforgiving. And once you see them, you can never unsee them. So you see what I did here, it's a very good way to think about this, because once you really see the pointlessness of it all, once that nihilistic, like, there are some people who claim that they are nihilists just so that it sounds cool, but if you really actually appreciate the fact, appreciate that feeling, indeed something breaks. I have felt this myself. It's like you zoom in on reality, but like if you have a picture, if you zoom in too much, you will only see pixels. From far it looks like a beautiful picture, there's a mountain, there's a sky, there's a river, but if you zoom in, they're just some pixels which are differently colored. Maybe it's slightly green, it looks like a tree, it's slightly blue, but they're just pixels. That's all. The picture is not really stored in your device as mountains and stuff. It's stored as a particular collection of pixels. That's it. So same thing with reality. What you feel like, oh, my life is meaningful because I won that prize, my life is meaningful because I have a loving partner. Pixels. It appears meaningful because you are zoomed out, but once you zoom in, it's pixels. So this is the first track, initializing variables. The second track of the album is, you know what? I should stop the video here because I feel like this is, I don't want to turn this video into a, or maybe I'll just quickly go through it. I'm not trying to, what should I say? I don't want to, this video was supposed to be about some ending remarks. Okay, maybe I'll make the video about not only the ending remarks of, I'm sorry, not only some discussion as the year ends, but also about my upcoming album, because this album is also, I'm dropping the album as the year ends, so this is kind of okay. So I'll continue. The next song is about the second track of this album is No One Survives. So it's a collaboration with Amelia Ibusheva. She's a very talented singer as well, and this song, this lyrics are also, it's kind of like dark if you think about it, but spoken in a fun way. For instance, the song starts with, we sowed the sky on paper planes, so little of our trouble remains, and now look at our idle brains, they have become workshops of the devil. So if you just look at the lyrics, it's like, we sowed the sky on paper planes. So it's like something we thought was meaningful, but it was not actually meaningful. It was just paper planes, not a real plane. We sowed the sky on paper planes, so little of our trouble remains, and now look at our idle brains, they've become workshops of the devil. Idle brain is the devil's workshop. We rode out the waves on paper boats, the same imagery basically. The air so full of beautiful notes, and we were holding on to stay afloat, holding on desperately to the dying evil. This means humans create problems so that they have something to solve and they can pretend that their life is meaningful. The entire album carries this theme of choosing truth over meaning, life is meaningless, nihilistic, simulation, that kind of thing. And then, yeah, so this is basically No One Survives. I just gave you the first verse, but it's more than that. But I'll not, of course, read each and every line of the lyrics right now of all the songs. The third track is just an instrumental track. It's called Evolving Boundary Conditions. So it's just just instrumental, no words, no lyrics, no text, no script. But it's like evolving boundary conditions means that the system is always evolving and dynamic, and it's difficult to deal with that kind of feeling. And in the background, the music is not really dark, but at the same time, it's not a upbeat, happy music. It's kind of like, it will. I think it's a music that will invite you to like reflect on yourself, reflect on everything. The fourth track of the album is a very special track to me. It's called Text My Younger Self, and it's a collaboration with Mary. First of all, yeah, Mary did a beautiful job with this one, because in this one, I really wanted this song to sound perfect because these lyrics mean so much to me. And these lyrics actually narrate my story, the story I have been telling you for the last 1 hour, last 1.5 hour actually. Why physics was kind of like a coping mechanism for me, why I hit under physics, why I messed up in relationships, why I, like, basically, as you can understand from the title of the song, it's Text My Younger Self. So if I could say something to the young Arpan, what would I say? It's a very beautiful song. Because I really wanted the lyrics to sound perfect. They mean so much to me. And Mary did, exceeded my expectations, to be honest. You can listen to the song. I love it. I think you will like it too. So the song, yeah, and there were some very good points in the song actually. Like but in the end it also ends with a little hope actually. But at the same time, my favorite lines from the song would probably be, funny how we call it letting go when it feels like learning how to stay. trying to find patterns in the noise, still keeping the demons at bay. Funny how we call it growing up when it feels more like burning down. Call it tragedy, call it comedy. In the circus of life, I am just a clown. The next song of the album is Text My Younger Self. Yeah, this is also a very special song. It's called Stranded, and it was a this song was actually it's actually a very old song. It was released back in 2022, but I always since I had the idea of this album Anti Simulation, I knew that no, I had to include this song because this song was not part of Unsettled Bliss, so there is not nothing preventing me from including it in my new album. So Stranded is a collaboration with Jenny, and of course Jenny is again a very talented singer. This song is about slowly coming to terms, slowly realizing the fact that you are not in control with your life. So it starts with how should I say, okay, the main chorus of the song, that's the most important part, just 4 lines, but this 4 lines says the whole story. And this I really love this chorus because this is beautiful. Actually, I think I like it too. It's all fun and exciting until you see something greater looking down on you. Then you realize you are not in control, stranded in this world without a clue. So see, initially it's indeed all fun and exciting, when we're growing up, for instance, when we have not yet realized stuff very deeply, it's indeed fun and exciting. But then we see like something greater looking down on us, and that then we realize that we're actually not in control of our lives, and like we're just stranded in this world without a clue. Yeah, it's just like we never signed up for this life, as I keep saying. Like we never chose. Like we were just born and we opened our eyes one day and we found ourselves in this world, and that's it. It's kind of like we're stranded. The next song in the album after Stranded is Forever Alone, and this one is also very special to me. And this was a collaboration with Anne, and Annie did a beautiful job with this actually. If you listen to the album, near the end of the song, the instrument, I intentionally muffled it a bit. That was intentional on my part because this is about, the end part is about coming to terms with myself and cutting out the noise. So maybe it doesn't sound very good from the musical perspective, but it says the message of the album. That's why I decided to intentionally distorted and muffled the music a bit near the end, not near the not through the entire song. Okay. And Forever Alone is initially it starts in a dark tone, like, oh, I am forever alone, I never fit in the crowd, I'm always alone. But in the end it's like coming to terms, no, I am actually happy alone. I accept myself. That is the basically the transition. And the lyrics actually, it took me a lot of time to write the lyrics, and this lyrics also are special to me. So you think about it, this album took shape from 2022 to now, because Stranded was released in 2022. In 2023, I didn't release any song, but I was inwardly working on the lyrics of Goodbye World and Forever Alone and Letter to the Simulator, these 3 songs, which were all released in 2024. No, Forever Alone was released in 2025. Goodbye World and Letter to the Simulator in 2024. And then the rest of the songs took shape in the last few months, in 2025 actually. Through the entire year actually, not just the last few months. So the Forever Alone starts with, I couldn't ignite a single spark, so I dance with shadows in the dark. Stopped trying to make my mark, I am carving out my lonely arc. Now I can see through the fading lights, hollow promises and bitter lies, sweet hellos and sweeter goodbyes. There is always more than meets the eyes. You see that, nothing to explain, I think. And then it goes like the main chorus, which is the best part. Now my life feels like a lie. You see, simulation. Now my life feels like a lie. Broken dreams, away they fly. Echoes of my unheard cry. It's just me, myself and I. Tried to fit in for so long. Told myself that I belong. But I was wrong all along. Here I am forever alone. And then it goes on like the chorus. The bridge is like, again we have kind of a throwback to the first verse. It's like, I couldn't rise above the rest and show them that I was the best. I heard calls I should have missed, answered them and felt so blessed. But then this is the bridge. That is when the transition starts. You see, it goes like, the bridge goes like, I spent my life chasing the world only to watch the truth unfurl. Cut out the noise, turned off my phone, and I found the magic in the bone. The cries fade, the lies grow thin, and I hear a voice deep within. Through the chaos I finally see the only one I need is me. So I laugh out loud at the absurdity as I shake hands with the real me. and then I end the song in a kind of a beautiful way. I use music, like performing a musical instruments and performing a song as a means to break free of the simulation and be myself. So here it how it goes. First I perform solo a cappella, then add some piano and bass, then let the drums take control. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting this part of the lyrics. Yeah, first I perform solo a cappella, then add some piano and bass, then let the strings take control and let the drums break the glass. The symphony muted for so long now roars and soars through the air, and I join in with new melodies. Here I am, my own choir. See, my own choir is a very beautiful, because I am a single person. So basically, a choir means more than one. I mean, a single singer cannot make a choir. But I am saying I am my own choir. So you see the thing that I'm trying to say, the message that I'm trying to convey. Because the main point of this song is that you should not always try to fit in the crowd. Sometimes you should take pride in standing out. So that's why we end the song with. I end the song with. It goes like, I don't try to fit in the crowd anymore. I have found my okay. So I smile and turn the volume up. I let the music fill my lonely world. I don't try to fit in the crowd anymore. I have found my home offshore. I'm better off forever alone. I'm better off forever alone. The next song in the album after Forever Alone. Okay, next we have a kind of like a instrumental track, just like the first one, Initializing Variables. This one is called Runtime Error, Exit, Exist. So it's a kind of like a strange name of a track, but you know, this is because this entire album is simulation coded, and so this is that's the theme I wanted to mention. So we all know what a runtime error is, right? So when a process is like is in a computer, you may have a runtime error. So in context of this album, you see the story I'm trying to build. First we say that we initialize the variables and start the simulation. Then we say that no one survives. It's like we are just holding on to pointless dreams. Everything is meaningless. Then we say that no, but everything is also changing, evolving boundary conditions. Then we say that we kind of take a step back to reflect on the past, and I text my younger self. Then we realize that we are stranded in the world without a clue, and there is something beyond controlling us. It's stranded, and then we say that I am happy by myself. I am happy to be forever alone. Now is the time we realize that maybe we should not always try to play the game. The thing which I was saying. Maybe sometimes we should step back and analyze the game and try to learn the rules of the game so that we can rewrite the rules in the future. So we should stop playing. That's why there is a runtime error. So we should exit the process and then exist. I'm not saying just quit, exit, but exist yourself. That's why runtime error, exit, exist. And this is again the instrumental track with a AI generated voice. It's not a song, but I'll just read the script to you. I remember the script actually. I don't need to like look it up. It starts like this. People drive through their lives. People drive through their days like they're holding the steering wheel, pretending so hard to look in control. They haven't got a clue. Neither do I. It's not like I didn't try. I tried pretending I knew nothing. I tried believing this was all real. I tried to fit in, to make friends. They say friends are like oxygen. Maybe that's true. Because the more you see, the higher you rise. And the higher you rise, the lower the oxygen levels. I used to feel sad watching them living life, fighting their battles. Then I realized not every battle is worth fighting, even if you end up winning. They're players in a pointless game, and players do not notice the patterns of the game. So I stepped back, not to quit, but to watch, to learn the rules, and maybe, just maybe, rewrite them. The next track of the album after Runtime Error is Goodbye World. Yeah, this was also a special song to me. Goodbye World is a collaboration with Williams, and he's one of the most talented. I mean, his vocals and the way he mixed and mastered my instrumentals with his vocals. He's a very talented producer and singer. Goodbye World is not about quitting. You see, it's not about like literally ending your life and saying goodbye to the world. It's more about, although some lines of the song are a bit dark, so it might appear to be saying, but it's by goodbye world I don't mean dying. It's more about saying goodbye to this world and creating a world of your own where you are happy, like moving on to a different world. I'll just briefly mention some of the lyrics because this is very good. It starts in a very dark way, like, I feel like my days are drawing to a close, tired of the momentary highs and endless lows. But whenever I feel this way, I kind of love it, preparing for the worst and enjoying every bit of it. And then it goes to transitions to the theme that I don't find my life meaningful in this world, so I'd rather say goodbye word. And it's a bit philosophical, the lyrics. If you just listen to the next part, I'm waiting for the reaper, for the moment when I can wave my hands to a world that is sleeping and shout out goodbye world. Hating myself for hoping that somebody would hear me, but I know that nobody cares. And I've never been wrong, but for once I wish I were. So it's still kind of like a dilemma. Some part of this person wants to stay. And then it goes like, I'm just an ordinary mortal who once dreamt of immortality. Now that dream has become a wish, I just wish I did not exist. If I did not exist as a mortal, would I be immortal then? So it's a deep question actually. If I didn't exist as a mortal, would I be immortal then? And then the song goes like, if I can't be no one, I just want to be someone else. Or I just want to say goodbye world. I don't care what you have got to say. Your hollow words won't change my mind. I hope you have a good laugh after I'm gone. And so this is like kind of like this part is very dark, but then it's like slowly the song grows a little more hopeful, as you can understand when I'm reading the next part. The next part is like, I'm fighting with sharks and flying with no I'm swimming with sharks and flying with vultures. I'm still trying to just enjoy life. I'm just a product of the system who is waiting to strike. The battle is no longer with them, it's with myself because I am them. So this is a very important part of the line of the song. It's like, you have become what you started fighting. So I started fighting them because I hate the system, but now I have become part of the system. So this reminds me of the Dark Knight, the quote, the famous line, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's the thing basically. But then the song tries to take a little more hopeful turn. So it says that it goes like, listen up future me. I am no longer a part of this world and I don't want you to be either. Listen up future me, although I have given up on the world, I have not given up on you, and I never will. So it's like, I don't want to die, I still believe in my future self, I just don't believe in this world. So I say goodbye to this world, I don't say goodbye to life. You see the point? And the last part, let's say the last chorus, it's beautiful. It's about, the best line in my opinion is this line, the world is not beautiful but staying alive is wonderful. This is the best line. So the next part goes like, I have come away from the world and I say everything is gonna be alright, and looking down on me always from everywhere, closer than ever before, life and death. I feel so alive despite being so close to death. Oh, the world is not beautiful, but staying alive is wonderful. I just wish I could stay alive in a very different world. I have had enough of this world. I just want to say goodbye world. So it's a beautiful way. The next song of the album is In a Parallel World. This one is also special to me, and well, I think I'll need to open up the lyrics of this one because I don't remember exactly, but I want to discuss this because this is the lyrics are like kind of crazy. I think you'll love it. I mean, anyway, if you have watched the video for this long, I think you're gonna stick with me for another 5 or 10 minutes. So yeah, okay, I have it here. In a Parallel World is about like a science fiction type lyrics, but it's about but what it's really about is saying that it's about hope basically. It still maintains that tone that I don't like this world. I have distanced myself from this world, but still there's a hope that maybe we will meet in a parallel world. So that's why. So you see, it starts with like this simulation and everything is broken, that kind of visual imagery, that a program that would never load, neurons that never really fired, bugs we never cared to decode, always been so poorly wired, a black hole that radiates dreams. Black hole, you know, Hawking radiation, black hole radiates particles but not dreams. But here we're seeing a black hole that radiates dreams, engulfed by darkness brighter than light. See, this is the kind of this entire song, in this entire lyrics I have used this kind of thing, using I'm sorry, using phrases like this: darkness brighter than light. Doesn't make sense in like technically, but yeah. A silence louder than our screams frees the system from its last byte. Byte means byte, megabyte, gigabyte, the memory, digital memory. And then this is the main chorus: the circle of life, this suffocating algorithm, Never really fit in with this dull rhythm. So I switched off, cut the wires within. Broke free from the loop, I am still breathing. Don't you worry, this is not the end. I've got this feeling that we're meeting again. You see a dead end, but I see horizons bend. Sometimes parallel lines meet. We will meet again. Parallel lines don't really meet in Euclidean space, but they can meet in non-Euclidean space, right? And so this is the basically the theme of this entire song, the parallel world. The next verse is also interesting. A symmetry that would never break, back to the beginning like a dream. Entropy dropping with every heartbreak, a place where order reigns supreme. I'm kind of like reversing the laws of physics, like playing with the laws of physics. A light that casts no shadow, a mirror that reflects futures, whispers that echo from long ago, resonating with some cosmic curse. The circle of life, this suffocating the same thing basically, and then it ends with this part is very interesting, especially the in context of anti-simulation. We loved dancing in feedback dreams, whirling into dimensionless seams, getting trapped in impossible schemes and reflected back in fragmented beams. We assigned meaning to our silent screams. That means our screams are actually silent. The universe is not listening to our screams. So in that sense, they're silent. But we assigned meaning. Assign is a computer science term. Like you assign a variable. You assign this value to that variable. So the same thing. Life is meaningless. We assign meaning to our lives. We assigned meaning to our silent screams. But nothing is really as it seems. So why don't we disrupt the data streams and lose ourselves in the beeps? Beeps means that error. When something fails in a computer digital system, it beeps, right? That beep. Watching the glass cities fall like quantum haze, reality bending in recursive waves, as we fall apart in a million different ways, lost in the void, oscillating out of phase. Through quantum fields and cosmic strings, I have been tracing your life in a fractal line, and in a world where we have our own wings, we will meet again and watch the stars align. So it's full of physics, technical kind of science fiction terms, but also some hope. After parallel world, I mean, after in the parallel world, the next song, the next track in the album anti-simulation is that yeah, I think therefore I crashed. This is beautiful because this of course this is kind of motivated from the famous saying by Rene Descartes is that I think therefore I am, one of the most famous philosophical dialogues, I think, philosophical thoughts. So here I say I think therefore I crash. Crash means like computer, the system has crashed, right? That crash. So because we are not in a simulation, so if you think too much about it, you will crash. Basically that means the simulation is built in such a way that it doesn't want you to think too much about it. It wants you to comply by the rules. It doesn't want you to break the simulation basically. So that's why. And I think therefore I crash is not a song. It's just instrumental. I did the production and there is no text, no script, no voice, no song. It's just an instrumental track, bit dark, but with a lots of like you can listen to it. I think if you have time, if you just close your eyes and listen to it, you might like it. I don't know. The next track in the album after this is, now we're nearing the end of the album. Okay, so the next track is it's one of my best songs, and this is not yet released. I'll be releasing it with the album actually. It's a surprise. I mean, the song is very beautifully produced, and this is again a collaboration with the one and only Mary. She's the one who sang "Text My Younger Self" as well, and this is very beautiful. This song is called Untitled Song, Ghosts in the Machine. So it's like we are like ghosts in the machine. So if this reality is nothing but a machine, but a simulation, and we are ghosts. Like we are slightly, we may feel like no, we have free will, we have consciousness, but at the same time we are ghosts in the machine. So we are just ghosts. We are transient, just a transient, let's say, glitch in the matrix kind of thing, if you want to put it that way. And this is a beautiful song, but I think this is I need to open the lyrics because I don't remember the lyrics of. Yeah, here it is. Untitled Song, Mary. Where randomly branched polymers, untitled. It's a lot of. Yeah, here it is. So this song is about. I mean, you can interpret it in many different ways, but this is basically about. This song is about those who don't really fit in the system, who don't really fit in the script, who don't really accept the script that has been handed to them, and who are always. No, we would better diverge than converge with the system. That's the theme. So you can just listen to if I just read out the lyrics, you can understand. The stars did not flicker anymore till your voice rewrote the code, and temperature reset to zero every time I said entropy overload. So free energy is U, Helmholtz free energy is U minus Ts. So every time, if entropy overload means if entropy becomes too large, then and temperature becomes zero, then it's kind of like balancing out. They run on clean equations, but inequalities feel more real. So people try to pretend that they know everything. They are in control of their lives, but that's not really true. Life is messy in general. That's why I say they run on clean equations, but inequalities feel more real. In this futile quest for meaning, you taught me to love the null. Null means zero, nihilism, like nothing, nothingness. See, this is very important because equations means perfection, like deterministic. If I say x is equal to 2, that means x is 2. X cannot be 2.1 or 1.9. X is 2 and that means x is 2. It's an equation. But if I say x is less than 2, then x can be 1, x can be 1.1, x can be 1.5, x can be 1.9. There are a lot of possibilities. Then the chorus of the song. Maybe we are data, maybe we are dreams, or maybe we are just ghosts in the machine. Maybe we don't converge, we are not all the same. But I would rather diverge with you than converge with them. No, I don't have a title for this song, but I have been screaming it to the stars. All I know is it's our song since the day I stopped counting hours. So that's why it's called Untitled Song. The name of the song is Untitled Song. I don't have a title for this song. They say time flies, but we fly with it. Since the day you called me your misfit, born from a typo in the cosmic code. This directly links back to simulation. Born from a typo, a mistake, a typo in the cosmic code, one that time somehow forgot to edit. So usually these mistakes are corrected as the universe evolves with time, but this mistake time didn't edit. That's why even though we are living in a simulation, we are ready to break the simulation. We are like a glitch in the matrix, like I told you. And I'm not reading the entire lyrics, but yeah, this one is beautiful, this part. And if all of this resets to zero, if the universe suddenly reboots like a computer reboots, I hope the wrong stars align again, the typo remains, the bug repeats. So you are kind of hoping that the same mistake repeats so that you can break the simulation. And that's why in a printed world, with you I still feel handwritten. Printed world means everyone is following rules and everyone is like printed, boring. But handwriting is like more original, more authentic. So that's why in a printed world with you I still feel handwritten. Unlike the misfits that fit in so well, our story stays forever half written. And then this is the thing. So it's a good song actually. After this, next in the track is Dear Simulator. So Dear Simulator is again not a song. It's an instrumental track with a lot of digital glitch sounds and kind of like an EDM kind of instrumental with drums and synths and stuff, but with also some AI vocals. And this is a very beautiful this dialogue. I mean this, I read you runtime error and initializing variables. Now the same voice. So it started with there was a time I thought I was like everyone else, but the world was too cold to keep me warm, so I started playing with fire. So it started with that. Then in the middle it said that I tried to fit in, I tried making friends, but no, then I realized maybe I shouldn't play the game, maybe I should watch the rules. And then the same voice is saying, I start quote, everything is data, a reaction, a silence, a choice to act or not. Every signal leaves a trace. Step back far enough, and what feels personal suddenly dissolves into patterns. See, this is kind of the opposite to the first. In the first, we say that it's like you zoom in on reality and the beautiful pictures become pixels. Now we're saying you zoom out, you step back far enough, and then you can see universal patterns. What feels personal? Now, why did they do that to me? Why did that person do that to me? But if you zoom out far enough, you will stop feeling personal. Because that is the way humans behave. That guy did the same thing to that guy, so he's just playing by the rules. He's just a poor player in a pointless game. I shouldn't even care about it. That's the thing which I want to say. So yeah, and yet, okay, I go back to the script. And yet, do you ever feel like this data is being manipulated? Like the world around you is not real? Does not quite add up? Not broken, just edited. If God plays dice, they seem to be loaded dice. Not unbiased dice, but loaded dice. Sometimes I feel we are not just lost, but we are moving with conviction in the wrong direction. This is a very important line. We are not just lost, but we are moving in the wrong direction with conviction. If you're lost, then you will move randomly. Sometimes you move wrong, you move right. But it seems like we're moving with conviction in the wrong direction only. Further from truth, further from ourselves. Somewhere along the way, we forgot how to think. We learned how to play the game, how to optimize, how to repeat, how to do what's easy, but not what's right. Most people are content watching the sky through a window, a roof above their heads, people around them, Enough light to feel alive, not enough to burn. And maybe that's fine. But some of us want something else. We want to fly. Even if it means flying alone. Even if the sunlight burns. Even if the rain soaks through. Because because freedom was never meant to be safe, and truth was never meant to be comfortable. So this is the main theme of the entire album basically. And after this track, after Dear Simulator, we have the final song of the track, which is Letter to the Simulator. And after Letter to the Simulator, we have this the last track, which is called which is called reality.exe corrupted. So it says that this entire file, let's say if some simulator is running this simulation in a file on his computer, on his system, which he has named reality.exe, and he's executing that file to run this simulation of the reality. So in the end, it says that the file is corrupted. Because why corrupted? Because there are some people like the ones in the song, like the singer basically, who says that no, I am in the simulation, but at the same time I can break free of the simulation. I am like a glitch in the matrix, so the file is corrupted. That is the entire message of the album, like anti-simulation. You are in the simulation, powerful people are trying to control you, nothing is fair in today's world, but you should start running an anti-simulation. You should start thinking for yourselves. You should stop believing what the media tells you, what everyone tells you, what seems to be true apparently. But you should always think for yourself. Even though it's difficult, you should stop doing what's easy and start doing what's right. That's the main message of the album. So the last track, reality.exe corrupted, is not really a song, it's just an instrumental track. So but it's very I produced it, and I wanted it to sound like, I mean, you can listen to it, it's very interesting. It starts in a very dark, cinematic, like soft horror kind of music, and then it becomes a bit more EDM light, and then again there is a kind of suspense music, then again. So basically, why did I do this? Because I wanted it to sound like oscillation between dark and like bright parts, and highs and lows basically. And then in the end, it ends with like a dark, ominous crash, and then digital music like simulation, and it ends with a heartbeat which suddenly stops. So it's a very dark ending, but I know, but yeah. And the last song, just the second last track in the album, and the last song is Letter to the Simulator. So that's I'll just read the lyrics to you, since I did everything. Let's not just skip this last one. And this is I think this probably is the most important song. Not really most important, all the songs are important, but this is like the icing on the cake in a way, because here finally, so the story I built up from the track 1 to throughout the album is like, sometimes I feel sad, sometimes I feel like the world is not real, and then I'm coming to terms with the fact that I'm not in control with my life. Now in the end, the singer is writing a letter to the simulator and challenging the simulation. That's where it ends. That's what the last song. And this is again a collaboration with Williams. He's the same guy who gave the vocals for Goodbye World. So yeah, this lyrics is very interesting, and this is, by the way, this is my most popular song. Like going with the number of YouTube views, this song is my most popular song. You can check out on my Arpan Amplified channel. I'll give the link in the description. So I start reading the lyrics, quote unquote. Do you ever get this feeling when you look around and contemplate the stuff that's swept under the rug? I repeat. Do you ever get this feeling when you look around and contemplate the stuff that is swept under the rug, that things don't quite seem to add up and make sense, and life feels so scripted, like you're on drugs? I was floating in nothingness when I fell into this dream and woke up in this nightmare, a life in the matrix. I know I will find meaning if I seek it, but I want the truth and an escape from this landscape of lies and tricks. See, this directly links back to the simulation idea. They say I have lost my mind. That's what they do. If they see someone who's trying to break the simulation, they will try to oppress them by saying that you are mad, you have lost your mind. So they say I have lost my mind, the line blurring between truths and lies, as I strive to reach beyond the veil and out of this fool's paradise. Yeah, it's not gonna be a cakewalk. The simulation has me in lock, but I can create an alternate one, building on the loopholes in this one. So this is the first part in the album where I explicitly talk about anti-simulation. So I can create an alternate simulation building on the loopholes, on the glitches in this simulation. That means I'm kind of running an anti-simulation. That's the name of the album. Then it's kind of like challenging the simulation part. 5 minutes I'm in and all out. I don't need a shout out. Never again answer your call out. Better get ready for the fallout. Hey, I've got a G for C in dancer. So this is a very kind of like a good wordplay. Dancer. I use the word dancer because The next lines are about cancer, so just to match with dancer and cancer. But you see, the line says, I have got a G for C in dancer. So in dancer, if you replace the C with the G, you have danger. So it's, I'm saying I am danger. Hey, I've got a G for C in dancer. The best answer to the cancer is to turn my anger into hunger and become the anti-simulator. Finally, I explicitly mentioned the anti-simulation. So here's my letter to the simulator. Dear simulator, you tried to wipe the smile off my face. You succeeded. You tried to make things difficult for me. You succeeded. You tried to break my faith in humanity. You succeeded. But then you tried to stop me. You failed. You disappoint me. You can do better. Try harder to worsen things for me. Put an end to my boredom. I don't care about winning or losing any longer. All I want is the truth, and I'm getting closer to it bit by bit. So basically, you see from this song, it's all about. I mean, okay. So this is all about the entire album, Anti-Simulation. Please stay tuned for the album. It's dropping on 31st December 2025 as we finally say goodbye to this year. And I really hope in this video, although this was like a very long video, it's almost like a movie. We're watching a movie basically, but except it's very boring. It's just the same picture, the same background, and the same guy talking and basically ranting. But anyway, so I would like to know in the comments. Let me know about your 2025. What has like your realizations this year, and if you have, whether you have like you would like to share anything else. And thank you for watching. I think I should stop now. Uh, yes, and as we say goodbye to this year, let's hope. We don't know, but all we can do is hope. Let's hope we collectively as a whole we learn to see the truth, we learn to accept the truth, and we learn to think for ourselves. Because if we can do that, I'm positive that the future will be better, much better. So yeah, here's to better futures. And yeah, I think it's a good idea to reflect on your year, on your past, and also on this year as the year ends. So thanks for watching.